Welcome to Certified Phresh, the interview series with artists and producers featured in the mixes of the aesthetic deity, the bus driver himself, the lean sommelier, your plug's favorite DJ, Ryan Celsius. I'm your host, JV. Head over to YouTube and tune in to Blaze Bus Radio, the Ryan Celsius live stream playing 24/7 lo-fi, experimental trap, funk, vaporwave, and other groovy tunes set to psychedelic visuals. On IG, he's at Ryan.Celsius. On SoundCloud, he's just Ryan Celsius. Follow Certified Phresh on IG at rc.certifiedphresh. That's fresh with a PH. Today's guest is Bexfield. Along with another music friend, Bexfield is one of the people behind the scenes that make slow wave records tick. He produces music in several genres, some of that music you can even dance to. I also talked to the Saskatchewan native about local slang others may not get and why all lo-fi producers love the SP404. Let's get started. Where are you from?
I'm from Saskatchewan, which is a province in Canada. I grew up on a farm, and that was really dope. Had a lot of fun, spent a lot of time outdoors, doing a lot of activities and doing chores and stuff like that. So it's a good time, that's for sure. And a lot of fun winter activities to be had on the farm as well. Even though it's really cold, stay busy, that's for sure.
Is it normal to grow up on a farm in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, it's more or less a more rural province. The population is a lot really spread out. And it's not a like very populated province. Like it's a big province, I guess. So it's a lot of small towns, and so yeah, I guess there's not as many farmers nowadays. Definitely more of a farming agriculture province for sure. Not like oil field really as much as some of the other provinces.
Is there like a huge cultural difference between the provinces? Like, is there a huge difference between Saskatchewan and Ontario?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say definitely. Like there's definitely a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of like small things I guess that makes every person or like everybody from every group of people I guess from every province a little bit different than the next. Like everybody has their own little unique way they say things and like way they do things, and some provinces are better off economically than others, so there's like different views and things like that depending on where you go. But all in all, it's like everybody gets along pretty good, so it's not a bad place to live, that's for sure.
Okay, so a follow-up for the cultural things or kind of local slang or whatever. What's something that you could say in Saskatchewan that you couldn't say in Ontario or honestly I don't even know any other provinces, but what's like local slang that somebody from another part of Canada wouldn't know?
Probably definitely the word bunnyhug, which which basically means hoodie, or like hoodie. It basically means hoodie, but we just call them bunny hugs. I moved a province over. I live in Alberta now, and like people from here don't even know what that means. So I'm pretty sure that's only local to Saskatchewan. So I guess it's definitely a cool thing about we have everybody has their own weird things. That's probably like one of the only ones that I really know, because like Saskatchewan and Alberta kind of share the same slang for the most part.
Okay. And when did you move to Alberta?
I'm 24 now, and I moved here when I was 20, so I've been living here for about 4 years, I guess. And that's like really when I started producing and DJing and all that, was until I moved here, because Saskatchewan doesn't really have like as it developed as like a DJ or music scene, I guess, so to speak.
Did you move to Alberta to do music, or you just wanted to move from your hometown?
Yeah, basically I just got bored, I guess, of living in Saskatchewan after growing up there my whole life, and felt like I wanted to move and explore a bit. So I decided to move to Edmonton, which is the capital city of Alberta. And yeah, I guess I've just been here ever since. Yeah, like I said, I really wanted to learn how to make music and stuff, and I figured if I moved to the city, and I'd meet some people, that also made beats and whatnot, and that's kind of how I got into it. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm stoked that I moved for sure. Definitely miss Saskatchewan though.
Okay. We'll talk about music and collaborations with other artists in a second. Did you play music at all before you moved to Alberta? Were you in band as a kid, or were you just somebody who wanted to do more than listen?
I was never really in any bands or nothing as a kid, but like my parents always had a really good music collection, like tons of CDs and tapes and all that. And my mom always liked watching like music videos, or she was a hairdresser, so she always had that on in the background and such. And I just always, yeah, I always really loved listening to music. And the more I listened, the more the more I liked beats and stuff like that. And so yeah, I was always super curious to want to learn how to make beats. I just had to wait a little while to be able to do that. I played guitar, I guess, for a little bit, for like 2 years by myself. I just wanted to learn how to do it. So then I got bored of that, so I stopped playing.
Okay. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I'm actually the oldest, and I have four other siblings, two brothers and two sisters.
Oh, what's it like being the oldest of five?
It's pretty fun actually. They're all well. My sister, she's like 20 now, or actually, I think she's 19 or 20. She's gonna kill me if she hears this, but she's like, yeah, 3 years younger than me, I guess. Yeah, so she'd be 20 now, and then the rest of my siblings, my other brother, he's 16, and then my younger brother is 7, and then my youngest sister is 4 or 5 now. So yeah, it's pretty fun. Whenever I go home, they all look up to me, and it's good that they do, I guess, because it's just a lot of fun playing with them. They're all into sports and all that. Whenever I go home, it's never a dull moment, that's for sure. They always want to do something, so
That's
it's lots of
great.
fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great. Sounds like you have a nice, big, loving family, huh?
yeah, for sure. It's lots of fun. I'm very fortunate.
Awesome. I want to get back to culture and stuff for a second. I've been noticing this when looking at the Instagrams for like Canadian producers and artists and stuff like that. You guys wear a lot of windbreakers. Is that like the thing up there, or is it you guys just wear it because it's cold and windy?
It's funny, yeah. Like I don't know. I think they're just a really handy thing to have in your wardrobe up here. Like the weather changes a lot, and it's usually pretty cold. But at the same time, like right now it's March, and like I don't know, for us it's like plus probably like, let me just check real quick. Yeah, it's plus 8 degrees right now Celsius, and that's fairly warm. So like it, I'd probably just be wearing my windbreaker right now, to be honest. And like most of us, yeah, we've always just had windbreakers. So it's always has I guess it's always been a thing. And like with Instagram and all that, I guess it kind of developed more into like a fashion statement. We've all low key always just had sick windbreakers, not gonna lie.
Okay, cool. And I just did that conversion on Google because, as you know, in America, they don't really teach us anything. That's about 45 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's pretty crispy up there right now, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty crispy for you probably, but it could be like minus 30 degrees Celsius right now, which is like sucks. So we take what we can get whenever the sun's out, I guess, and it's not windy.
Ah, okay. So let's talk more about your music. You started getting into producing and making beats when you were in your 20s or so.
Yeah.
From the music that I've listened to from you, it gives me a lot of like K Tronada and Clams Casino, like dancey type vibes. Would you consider them influences on your music, and how would you classify your sound?
Yeah, that's really dope. I really appreciate that because like as soon as I've heard both of their beats, I was always like really blown away by how distinct each of their sounds were. And I always really enjoyed like pretty much anything they both produced. So that's really dope that you think that my stuff sounds like that because yeah, I always really like their stuff. So that's sick. And um I'd say I don't really know how to describe my style. I just like making whatever. And like, yeah, I like listening to a lot of stuff. So if I hear something I really like, I definitely like don't want to copy it, but like I like to make stuff that I'm influenced by for sure. So I don't wouldn't say that I have like a distinct genre. I just like make whatever I'm feeling, and like usually it's like, yeah, whatever I'm feeling and whatever I'm liking at the moment, I try and make. So hopefully like I can develop more of a distinct sound, and like I'm just trying to crush basically everything that I like, to be honest.
Ah,
So
I see.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just fun making music, you know.
Yeah, of course, man. Everybody has their thing, and I think with a lot of artists or musical artists, that is, music is a thing that you could talk about. But when people are like, "Oh, well, like, why do you make music?" You're just like, I don't know. I just like music, and I like making it, and it makes me feel good."
Yeah, it's definitely like a therapeutic thing for sure. Like when I don't have to work a lot, like I work pretty long hours at my job, but when it's really cold outside, I don't work a lot because I work outdoors. So when that happens, I generally tend to make a lot of music. I find it's just like a good way for me, instead of sitting around doing nothing, I can just, it's a good way for me to explore, listen, just develop. I don't know, good way to stay sharp, I guess. Just a lot of fun.
I want to talk now about the psychology of music, and that might sound a little strange. From talking with producers and just listening to a certain type of music for a long time, I've figured out that artists will use certain sounds like a riser to prepare a listener for a drop, and a fade out type sound to wind down a song or to go to a breakdown or something like that. Is that a conscious choice that producers make, or you just put that kind of stuff in there because you think it'll feel right and it like gives the music a certain type of mood?
Definitely, I feel like it's a little bit of both. Like, depends on what style you're making. Like, if you're making like some sort of like rave or like if it's some bona fide club banger or something, like definitely there's a little bit of a science behind like adding a riser before a drop or something. It definitely adds a little bit more hype to the drop. But in the sense, like if you're just making like a song and you think that having a riser, like a softer, not something so harsh, but still like a some sort of a rise or something in there that kind of like brings the song forward or something, then like it just really depends on what you're making and what you're going for. It's a little bit of both, I'm for sure.
So you can't really apply the same formula to an EDM track to make something more chill.
I don't know, you definitely probably could if you wanted to, but like for me, I just really like go with the flow, like kind of, it's hard to explain, but if I hear like a certain sound, I can basically all of a sudden I can have almost a whole song in my head, and I can just go with that direction. It's not really a formula. It's just kind of like the feeling of something, I guess. If
Oh,
you're just kind of basing something off a formula all the time, like I feel like that's when things start sounding the same. But it's not like a bad thing. It just really depends on what you're going for when you're making it.
moving back to your sound and your music, from what I've heard, and definitely correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you have a pretty even split between sample based tunes and then stuff or melodies that you might write. Was there ever a track that, like, a sample just kind of got away from you, or a track where it was really difficult to write because you had it in your head, but it just wasn't coming out right on paper, so to speak?
Yeah, definitely. Like honestly, I've just spent years of like producing music is a really fun thing, but it can also be a super frustrating thing if you have really great ideas in your head and you can't really figure out how to articulate them the way that they should sound, so to speak. So, like if I'm working on a track and it's not really going well for me within like the first, let me say, like day of working on it, I'll usually just scrap it and like start a new one. And like most of my favorite tracks are the tracks that I feel like were the best or ones that just came out and I was able to just work on really fast and like get the bulk of them down. And I was really happy with how they sounded like right off the bat. So I'd say like I haven't really. If I'm struggling with a track, you probably won't hear it. So most of my tracks definitely they just come out and they feel good. I'll release them basically, and yeah, definitely there's a good split of like stuff I write and samples. I'm not so good at writing things just yet. I'm more of a sampler. I do like experimenting with like synths and hardware and things like that. So writing things with hardware and like chords and melodies and stuff is definitely a little trickier than sampling for me. So far, so that's a little bit more difficult for me to produce. For sure, is writing my own stuff.
I can imagine. And building on that, my next question was going to be, what hardware do you use? Do you use a DAW, or are you like a strictly SP 404 type of guy?
I actually actually started out using like FL Studio, and I didn't really like the way I'm so picky. I didn't really like the way the user interface looked, so I switched to Ableton, and then I like guess I just liked that a little better, and I stuck with that for a while, and that was a lot of fun. And I started like picking up like MIDI keyboards and things, and then I got an Ableton Push controller, which is like a drum machine. And then I started getting like samplers, like yes, the SP404 and the SP303, and I picked up a Moog sub-fatty synthesizer, and that's pretty much what everything that I have right now. So it's like a mixture of. I'm trying to use all of that stuff in most of my music. Like I'll make a beat on Ableton, and then I'll process it through the 404 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, actually, I'm not really sure. How would that work? Why would you make something on the computer and then run it through the SP404?
Just because like the 404 and the 303, like they're basically like yeah standalone hardware, so you can like just use you could basically make an entire beat without using your computer. Like you can just plug your phone in through the 404 and like sample off of YouTube into that, right? And it like has its own bank of effects and its own compressor and like isolator and like beat effects and all that. So I can like make a whole beat, and then if I want it to sound like like if I want it to sound like I made it on the 404 or something, or if I want it to have that like lo-fi sound, basically, I can
Mm.
run it through the whole chain, and then basically record it back into Ableton. So I can like run it through the 404 and turn the compressor on, and then turn like the vinyl simulator on the 303, and then it'll have like that lo-fi, like really grainy sound to it.
Oh, I was always wondering how that worked. That's thanks for dropping that little knowledge right there.
Yeah, dude, that's the secrets right there. Is if you kids want to make lo-fi beats, get yourself a couple SPs and learn how to interface them with your DAW, and you're good to go.
Nice, man. That's awesome. How did you learn about Ryan Celsius and Slow Wave?
Basically, like slow wave is actually like my homies. Like how I mentioned earlier, when I moved to the city and I just like wanted to meet people, like make beats and all that. I happened to meet like one of my homies, Sean, in like the smoke pit of this nightclub here, and we just happened to like hit it off. And we both don't even smoke cigarettes, by the way. So it was weird that we were in the smoke pit, and like we just started hanging out. And I actually like low key listened to a lot of his music. I just found like slow wave, and his handle is Dangles on SoundCloud, and I just listened to a lot of their music. And then he just like told me that that's who he was, and I kind of couldn't believe it at first. So it was really sick. Just happened to meet him, and then they basically just like let me roll with them from the beginning with slow wave, and now I'm kind of like helping manage it and like doing the A&R and building like the compilations and stuff like that. And so that's how I got into slow wave. And then Ryan Celsius, I was always like low key making little videos with like putting like visuals over them as well. I just didn't really have the means to like upload them or anything. So I just somehow found the page a while ago, and then it started like blowing up really big. And as I started like getting better at producing, I like low key always just like hoped that I'd get a tune out on there, and then I happened to get one with the one that I made with my homie Motat, and it was got pretty good numbers, which like isn't always about everything, but it was like a good feeling to have that song on there and it do well. So yeah, Ryan Celsius has good taste in music for sure.
Yeah, what's the name of that track you did with Motat?
It's called "This Is a Stick Up."
Ah, nice. All right, I'll definitely have to plug that track. I'll skip ahead on the questions here since you mentioned him. I've been trying to talk to Motat and set up an interview. So if you hear this, Motat, get at me. He lives all the way in New Zealand, so it's like a almost 24-hour time difference. What was it like to collab with him? Did you guys just talk through email?
Yeah, like one of the other homie who started slow wave is he's wavy, so he's actually from New Zealand as well, from Auckland. And so like I've always been like chatting with him for a few years, so I kind of had like the New Zealand time difference thing cased or whatever. So somehow me and Motat just started talking through Discord, I think it was, and we just liked each other's music, and we just like the more we started talking, the more we really got along with each other, and we just decided that it just kind of came about that we wanted to make beats together. And I kind of like introduced him to like slow wave and wavy and all that, and it just so turned out that he lived in Auckland too, so it all just kind of like organically came together. And he's pretty chillin' dude. He makes really dope tunes. Yeah, he's pretty sick. He's really nice to talk to. He's a really polite guy, so yeah, he's awesome. Hopefully you can get him on an interview. It'd be sick for sure.
I want to talk one more time about Canada, the Canadian vibe, and the producers that are coming out of Canada. What do you think's been contributing to Canada's success of quietly becoming a force in the SoundCloud scene? What do you think is that special sauce that only Canada has right now?
I think we're all just like low key, like a little bit bored. It's a really big country, and there's not a whole lot of us, and like everybody, it's like not a bad thing. Like everybody seems to be focused more or less on the United States, like not really like Canada, which isn't a big, it's not a big deal or whatever. So like we just kind of like low key always keep ourselves busy, and we always have something that we're into. Like we're very like hobby minded, or like I don't know, it's kind of like a Canadian thing to like be good at something. So I think that's what makes everybody good at what they're doing and kind of becoming a force, is that we're all like learning how to use the internet a little better too. You guys are a lot further ahead in that the internet sphere, so hopefully we can catch up for sure. We're working hard, that's for sure.
What is something, a perception or an idea that the rest of the world has about Canada that you want us to stop thinking?
I don't think there's really, I don't know if anybody, like in my mind, we think everybody thinks Canada is pretty chill and like open or whatever, and like I guess that's what we are. We're pretty chill and open. I don't know what people think negatively of Canada. A lot of people don't really agree with our prime minister right now, so like I don't know if people think we're down for Justin Trudeau. Don't think we are. Most of us don't like him.
Oh, really?
I feel like most of us aren't super political either, but like we think politics right now are pretty whack in the world too. So we're just trying to maintain, everybody should be happy and love each other.
We're gonna wrap up here. Bexfield, thanks so much for sitting down with me. Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't already gone over?
Not overly, I guess. Pretty stoked. I'm playing like my first festivals, I guess. I don't want to plug myself, but I've been like.
Nah, man, I'm interviewing you. Plug yourself.
Word, I guess I played a sick festival in Kelowna, BC in January, so that was really cool. It was like a more of like a folk festival, so it's like multiple genres, and like there was a few DJs, and I was really like the only producer, I guess, SoundCloud producer, so it was really sick, and everybody really seemed to like it, so that was dope. And I get to play like a bona fide like EDM festival in the summer, so that's going to be really sweet. So hopefully I get to keep playing more live performances and stuff like that. And if anybody's ever rolling through Edmonton, Alberta, hit me up.
Well, Bexfield, once again, thanks for... Wait, that's your last name, or is that just a name you made up?
Yeah, that's actually my last name. I didn't really know. Everybody's always guess that's been my nickname, Bexfield, so that's what I rolled with, and yeah, that's what I've been rapping with. So shout out to my family for blessing me with a cool last name.
Awesome. That's great, man. Well, once again, Bexfield, thanks for sitting down with me, man.
Yeah, no worries. It was really dope talking to you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, man. You too. Take it easy.
Yeah, for sure. Peace.
Thanks again, Bexfield, for sitting down with us. Find him on Instagram @_Bexfield. You may also catch him lurking on the Ryan Celsius Sounds Discord server. Invites are open. Please join us. We'll be back soon with another interview from the producers that are certified fresh. I'm JV. Thanks for listening.